The Lakers came out on fire on Mamba Day and ran the Blazers right out of the gym. LA opened on a 15-0 run and led by a ridiculous 29 points at halftime before Dame Lillard left with a knee injury. The Lakers reclaimed their spot over the Clippers as favorites in the West and also jumped Milwaukee as favorites to win it all. Sally, did the Lakers prove they are the best in the league? What do you think, my friend?
Nothing says Mamba, Rachel, more than a good old-fashioned Lakers curb stomping. That's what we saw last night. Should they be favored over Milwaukee at this point? I think so. I think the West has shown us some competitive basketball in the last couple of weeks. The East, the Bucks are beating up on teams. That whole East belongs in the Disney Junior bubble, I think. I don't know what to expect out of that. But the Lakers were solid. 80 first-half points. They lead the league in 15-point fast break points. It's really like Showtime Lakers all over again. I think AD has a plus-minus of plus 64. He is killing Nurkic. There's nothing. I think he's strangling him with his eyebrow. There's not a lot Portland is able to do. And here's the bad news. Look what LeBron does in closeout games. He only gets better. When LeBron has had enough, he has had enough. 13-1, 9-4-1 against the number. Average margin of victory, 14. You can look for that again tomorrow. Do you want to take the Lakers at plus 260? Maybe not great odds, but I would not bet against them anytime soon.
Todd, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with Cousin Sal here. I'm not ready, though, to call them the best, but they're definitely rounding into form. I think, though, we're seeing a byproduct of two things. The Lakers starting to get their sea legs under them as we get deeper into the postseason, and this Blazers team that we talked about at great lengths, having to go through the emotional grind of even getting into the tournament. They look like they've hit a wall, and I'd be stunned if Damian Lillard is even out there in Game 5. But when you look at this Lakers team, they're finding their offensive swagger, and you look at some of the statistical categories that they lead the playoffs so far, whether it's their ability to get out in transition, whether it's the rebounding game. Sal mentioned it. I think Anthony Davis has been the most valuable cog to this Lakers team. You do have to be a little bit worried about the back spasms that kept him out of the second half yesterday. He says he's going to be fine, but we do want to keep tabs. He hasn't been the most durable player throughout his career, but LeBron James, an absolute freight train, 30 points, 10 assists. This Lakers team is definitely a force. I'm just not ready to call them the best right now.
He's a madman. Travis, what do you think?
Well, look, I think we're going to end the NBA season where we anticipated it would end back in October, which is in a battle for LA to see which team's going to be able to advance into the NBA Finals. And I still think the Clippers, by virtue of no crowds being present, of no home court advantage, benefit a little bit. But we got to talk about the Clippers in the next segment. And first, they have to get past the Mavs. What I would say ultimately about the Lakers is this. They've suddenly found their three-point shooting stroke. And while Anthony Davis has been pretty consistently great when he's been dialed in, and LeBron has as well, most of these three-point makes aren't from them. They're from the other guys, whether it's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, whether it's finally Danny Green starting to make some shots last night. Look at what they did in the first 9 games in the bubble, which includes game 1 that they lost against the Trailblazers. They've added 4.5 made threes per game, roughly, in the last 3. If they can keep up with that three-point percentage, they have a very, very good shot of winning the overall title. And they're going to get a lot of good looks because Anthony Davis gets a lot of double teams inside and because LeBron is great at moving the basketball around and finding the open man. The question still to me is, are these guys going to be capable of hitting open shots? And by the way, craziest stat on Mamba Day, do you know who passed Kobe Bryant all time for three-pointers made? J.R. Smith. You talk about a bad timing for something like that to happen. J.R. Smith sweeps past Kobe. It feels like an insult to the game of basketball that happened yesterday.
A little bit. All right, let's keep it moving to the other team in LA, where the Clippers look to bounce back tonight against Luka and the Mavs in a critical Game 5. Luka will need to be a hero again as he's flying solo without Kristaps Porzingis for a second straight game. So no surprise, LA is favored by 8 points here. Now, I have to start with self-proclaimed NBA expert Clay Travis, whose luck is finally turning after his...
I like it.
Clay Travis. This is actually just what I heard when I was in a coma.
Double-digit favorites anymore.
That's just like what I heard as I woke up from the drugs. Clay, what you got tonight?
First of all, I lost a couple of bets last night, Rachel, but I also won half of one. So I'll actually be close to a push once we get the win for the Clippers today.
Okay.
And look, I like the Clippers. I like the Clippers to bounce back and win. And look, this is one of the, I know that everyone knows who watches this show ever in the course of the 3 years that I am the stat maven. And it's sometimes I bring forth statistics that literally make people's heads spin because they're blown away by how great they are.
It's ridiculous.
This is a prelude
Where's the
Welcome
cardboard
back,
cutout?
Rachel Bonnetta. Even without your gallbladder, this would be worth giving your gallbladder up for, to
I'm
have a
jealous of my
stat
gallbladder
this
right
good
now.
to put on national television for everybody to see. Look at this. You think teams that hit buzzer beaters are going to be white hot the next game, that they're going to roll with that momentum, that the team that lost the buzzer beater, I think psychologically, you think that's going to linger. The opposite has actually been true over the last 12 games. Just 2-10 straight up, the buzzer beating team. 4-8 against the number, losing by almost 9 points per game. I like the Clippers. We know Kristaps Porzingis is out now. I think they take control. They make Luka beat them. And as good as Luka is at 21 years old, and as good as he was in Game 4, if he doesn't hit a 28-foot step-back jumper, this series is over. I think the Clippers come out fast. They take control, and they win by double digits.
But he did. Furman, what are you going with here?
Well, I hate the fact that I have a stat to further support Clay's case that he made for the Clippers
Why did I
here.
come
When you
back?
talk about Los Angeles kind of being the model of resiliency when they're favored in games by more than 4 points, you look at this team off a loss, those numbers are kind of staggering, and it shows some of the veteran leadership that they have in that locker room. Now, I was critical of Doc Rivers and the defensive scheme they put on Luka. Luka's going to get his in this game, too, without Kristaps. And they need a heck of a lot more from Paul George than what they've seen. He's shooting below 30% from the floor. I think you do have to give some credit, though, to Dorian Finney-Smith, who's really been a thorn in his side defensively. But when you look at this Clips team, they need the energy of Patrick Beverley back. They're not going to have that tonight. I just feel like Kawhi Leonard can put this team on his back. We're going to see them engage a little bit more with their veteran leadership on the perimeter. And ultimately, it's the Clippers taking the series lead and covering the number in the process. I'll lay the points here.
Sally?
I have to hand it to Clay, the stat maven. I mean, honestly, he saw that in an email that was sent, show-wide email. He saw the stat.
I worked on it for
Our
8 hours
read it.
last
With
night.
the stats.
Research.
No.
You've
It's
seen
not
the
enough to
number of,
see it, to receive
almanacs
it.
I was
You
going
have
through.
to read it, and then you have to claim it. I mean, you have to trust the process. He really did that. Oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm not even ready for this. Look at this. Clippers after a
You just
lot.
claimed Furman's own stat.
Crazy.
They're
Wow.
just going through it.
This is rapid-fire graphics.
There you go. Oh, that's it. Yeah, God bless him. Look what he did there. Why would you claim
You
something
just tried
like
to
that?
steal my graphic. Look at that.
I didn't
After
steal. I have
ridiculing
my
me.
own graphic, pal. I will say this: that I think they're out of gas. I really do. I think Luka. I think that ankle's going to start hurting today. By the way, Luka and Porzingis, they never play. Are they the same person? I don't think we've ever seen them on the court together. I'm wondering if they're the same person. I want to conduct an investigation here, and I also want to look into Kawhi Leonard. Look what he's done.
Let's.
He's 20-6 in postseason games that are tied. He's 12-3 in Game 5s, and look at that, 9-2, 41%. This is where he steps it up. I think, like Furman says, I think he has a 40-point game, and Paul George cannot be as atrocious as he's been in the last few games. That can't continue. I like the Clippers here, and I like them big tonight.
Speaking of Kawhi, you know I love my man, okay? But I even sent this on our text chain. He looked tired, just like me, from carrying his team on his back. I think we have a picture of this. I don't want to say that he regrets something, but I think he might regret something.
Oh, wow.
I think he might be a little bit
It's not
tired.
Canada. He doesn't regret that at
Getting
all.
nostalgic for the Great White North.
The Mavs are very much in this thing. I am excited. I just hope that this goes to Game 7 because this is so much fun. And take a look at how the Mavs do as underdogs of 6 or more points. Against the spread, they are 7-2. I very much like them to stay in this thing.
You do.
Hey guys, I'm Rachel Bonnetta, host of Fox Bet Live. Thank you so much for watching. And I got to tell you something. You need to subscribe. And I think the button is, it's somewhere. It's here. It's for sure. Just put it here.